What's up, crypto people? If you're new here, I'm Kevin Crates. We go over 5 charts every day. If you're not new here, welcome back. Today we're looking at Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tezos, SXP, and Cake. Bit of a red day across the market, but things are still looking decently bullish. I mean, Bitcoin is still hanging around 48,000. Ethereum refusing to dip too far below 3,200. Cardano trading around $2.80, XRP around $1.18. But a couple things are still pumping. I mean, Avalanche, we talked about that a few days ago. Around $58 now. I mean, Avalanche is just pumping nonstop. We talked about that when we looked at the chart, that it looked like it could just keep going. Another one I felt we should touch on for a moment is Quant. We haven't looked at Quant in quite a while, and I did want to touch on its chart today, but when I saw that it's trading over $200, there really is no point. Quant is now in price discovery. I feel everybody, including myself, was expecting Quant to have a bit more of a correction than it had. I mean, if we go back to early June, let's just say June 1st, Quant is trading around $48. By around the end of July, Quant is trading around $176, has a pullback and correction to around $145, $150, and now Quant is trading above $200, which is just absolutely insane. If you're currently holding Quant, congratulations. It must be a fun ride. I personally won't be chasing this until there's a bit of a cool down, and then I'm going to take a look and figure out what is going on with Quant. So we're definitely going to look at Quant's chart in the next few days, but that's just how it goes when something pumps this intensely. I mean, Avalanche is another similar situation. I was looking at picking up some Avalanche around $20. I did not. I kept loading up on Sol, which is perfectly fine. I'm very bullish on Sol long term, but when something pumps like this, I mean, getting involved is always a massive risk. But keep in mind, these are very high potential projects, Avalanche and Quant. I mean, there's so much to be bullish about long term for both of them. But for the time being, I mean, there's so much opportunity across the crypto markets. I'm personally just not a big fan of chasing something that's pumping that hard. However, if I do see an entry point worth hopping in and I do see the signals that it's going to keep pumping, I might do so. If I do so, I'll definitely tweet about it. But as far as the rest of the crypto market goes, it's a bit of a pullback day, and that means that there is definitely a lot of opportunity out there. Looking at Bitcoin's daily charts, our notes on from last time we talked about Bitcoin. Bitcoin having a bit of a red day, but in my opinion, it's still not really a big deal. I mean, until price action approaches that 46,000 mark and dips below towards 44,000, running into that baseline, it really is not a big deal. There's nothing to be bearish about just yet. As far as Bitcoin has gone on this uptrend, it pumps, it pulls back, it pumps, it pulls back. Unlike Ethereum, which if we turn these notes off for a moment, Ethereum just this consistent uptrend, and it really just does not want to dip down in price. So I still really do feel that Ethereum is currently carrying the market. And don't forget, there's still millions of dollars of Ethereum being burned daily. I mean, whether or not you're into the NFT hype, just keep in mind that every time you see those crazy NFT transactions, there's Ethereum being burned in those transactions. And if you take a look at Ethereum's chart, unlike Bitcoin's, Ethereum, ever since EIP 1559 and leading right up to it, has just been on this nonstop uptrend and really just consistently refuses to dip down in price, whereas Bitcoin does have a bit more of these aggressive pullbacks on this pump on the daily chart, whereas Ethereum really has just pumped and stayed consistent at those higher levels and just keeps slowly trending up in price. Even this pullback here is not really a pullback when you take a look at the big picture here. But let's jump back to Bitcoin. We'll talk about Ethereum more in detail in just a moment. Let's jump to that 4-hour chart, turn on our notes, and talk more in detail about Bitcoin's price action. As far as this uptrend goes, I mean, everything still looks intact in my opinion, as long as price action doesn't dip below this pink moving average here. And it's the same story on Ethereum, except Ethereum is only challenged it once. You see that bounce right there. It looks like it's going to head for another bounce in that area here. Whereas if I jump back to Bitcoin's 4-hour chart, you can see bounces here, and it looks like there may be another bounce coming around here. And if we grab a price target, put it right around here, because again, keep in mind, I'm just drawing this line, so mine's not going to be exactly correct, but around 46.7, 46.6, 46.8, which again, if we jump over to the 1-day chart, that lines up with this support level right here, which again would be perfectly fine even if Bitcoin pulls down to around 46.7, 46.6, gets a bounce there and continues back up. Now, where price action would not look good on the 1-day or the 4-hour chart is if price action dips below this 46.7 mark and trends down to around 44,000. In that situation, if we jump back to the 4-hour chart, then price action is below that moving average for the first time, and that uptrend might be broken. So for the time being, in my opinion, everything still looks great. I think this uptrend is still intact as long as price action remains above that moving average there on Bitcoin and Ethereum, which have been moving pretty parallel to each other ever since this uptrend started. I mean, Ethereum's 4-hour chart, a much more consistent uptrend. Bitcoin challenging that moving average a little bit earlier back here as well as here, whereas Ethereum never even challenged the Kumo cloud. Again, another reason why I do feel Ethereum has been carrying this market, and Ethereum on that 1-day chart really showing signs that it just does not want to dip down in price, whereas Bitcoin is having its usual swings on the 1-day chart. But again, Bitcoin's uptrend still looks great, and so does Ethereum's. So for the time being, as long as price action doesn't approach 44,000, in my opinion, this uptrend still is intact. So as far as price targets go for Bitcoin, I've still got my eye on that 53,000 breakout level, but there are some resistance levels in the way now, that 50,000 as well as that 49.8. Current resistance is around 48.9, decent support around 48,000, and the crucial support level for Bitcoin for the time being is going to be right along that moving average we just talked about on the 4-hour chart around 46.6. Looking at Ethereum's daily chart, there are notes on from last time we talked about Ethereum. Ethereum, in my opinion, looking very bullish still. And I mean, if we turn these notes off for a moment, you can just visually see Ethereum does not want to dip down in price. And that is why I still feel that Ethereum is carrying this market. And for those of you who are new here, we've talked about this on this channel for quite a bit, that I do feel that Ethereum leading up to EIP 1559 and ever since has been carrying the market. Now, what we're used to seeing when it comes to a cryptocurrency carrying the market is Bitcoin moving like this, these up and down swings, these pumps and these aggressive pullbacks. And Bitcoin is still doing that. If we look at the 1-day chart, Bitcoin is pumping, pulling back, pumping, pulling back, whereas Ethereum has just kept this consistent pump and not really dipping down in price. As far as pullbacks go, I mean, these are very minimal pullbacks in comparison to what we're used to seeing with Bitcoin. So what I mean by the fact that I feel that Ethereum is carrying the market, it's more so in a sense of stability than it is with aggressive jumps in price. I feel that Ethereum is just keeping consistency in the market, and it's keeping, as the second largest cryptocurrency, it is helping hold that crypto market cap up and giving Bitcoin as well as all the altcoins the opportunity to pump. I mean, when you take into account that Cardano is setting new all-time highs, Solana is setting new all-time highs, XRP, Polkadot, BNB pushing back up in price, then when the top 10 cryptocurrencies are pushing up in price like that, that raises the cryptocurrency market cap. And in my opinion, I feel that Ethereum is leading that. I feel that ever since EIP 1559 and leading up to it, Ethereum has added stability to the crypto space. I feel that before EIP 1559, Ethereum might have taken some of these pullbacks that Bitcoin is having a little bit more aggressively than it's showing. I feel Ethereum is starting to show a level of stability and continuing to uptrend in price and raise that market cap for the entire crypto space. But that's just my opinion. Let's turn on the price notes and let's talk about price action for Ethereum. Ethereum, if we jump to that 4-hour chart, it is the same story as Bitcoin. It might dip down to this range that we talked about yesterday, which it looks like it is currently doing right around this moving average, that pink line right there. So as far as price targets go, if we just move that price target that we set yesterday around 3155 and just lower it down a little bit, give it a little bit of extra room to drop if it needs to, around 3120, somewhere in that range, we may see another bounce for Ethereum. It can dip a bit lower, you can see here, bounces off that moving average, but I do feel that Bitcoin and Ethereum are both showing signs that they're headed for that moving average. We could get a bounce in that range around 3120 for Ethereum and then a push back up in price from there. Now, because Bitcoin does have a bit of a ways to drop still, I'm going to jump back to Ethereum's chart. And if it does dip below that moving average there, maybe even wicks down to this support level here of around 3,060, 3,050, that in my opinion would still be okay. But anything below 3,050 would be some indication to me that this uptrend for Ethereum might be broken. If it starts to approach that under 3,000 mark towards 2,960, 2,950, that in my opinion would be a bit of an indication that this uptrend might be broken and we might see a bit of a retrace in the market. But for the time being, I mean, everything looks good. A bounce off the moving average here, and you can see here it dipped a little bit below it there as well. So if it does hit that moving average, dip down to around 3,060, 3,050, in my opinion, that is still perfectly fine on this uptrend. But I will be looking for a bounce more in the 3,100 range. I'd be shocked to see it dip down to that mid 3,000s. But again, with Bitcoin having a bit of a ways to go on this pullback, again, Bitcoin might catch itself here and push up. But if Bitcoin does drop down to the 46,000s, Ethereum might dip down to the mid 3,000s. But I'm still looking for a bounce for Ethereum around 3100, 3120. Let's jump back to the one-day chart and let's talk about price targets. As far as price targets go, I'm still looking for a breakout. Might trend up to around 3,500 before a possible breakout to around 4,000. As far as resistance levels go, a bit of resistance on the way there now around 33.9. Below that, 32.85. Current resistance is around 3,200, which it's currently trying to claim. As far as support levels below that, looking for a bounce off that 3120. And on the lowest end, crucial support for Ethereum is around 3,050, 3,060. Looking at Tezos' daily chart, let's turn notes on from last time we talked about Tezos. So why are we talking about Tezos today? Now, I've mentioned this before on this channel. I hold Tezos. I'm bullish on its potential as far as price action goes. I mean, it definitely did take a beating ever since May 19th. But in my opinion, I think Tezos has potential mainly because of this. Let me just grab this article here for you guys. Ubisoft joins Tezos blockchain as corporate backer. Article from April 20th, 2021. Nicolas Pouard, Ubisoft's blockchain initiative director, was quoted saying, Ubisoft believes the blockchain has the potential to bring new possibilities to players and developers alike, and this new collaboration will allow us to pursue our innovation efforts with an ecosystem that aligns with our environmental-friendly approach thanks to its proof-of-stake consensus algorithm. Now, I'm not going to read the whole article for you guys, but that is one of the reasons that I feel that Tezos has some bullish potential. Now, for those of you who've been watching this channel a long time, you know I've always been bullish on NFT gaming. I've always talked about how I feel the fact that NFT gaming is pretty much a natural progression in the gaming space. And I do play a lot of different crypto games. And if you guys remember a while back, I did a video on DPET. But if you watch that video right off the bat, I say that if a friend of mine asked me if they should get involved with DPET and buy some eggs, which was trading around $10 at the time, I said absolutely not. And the reason being, I personally got involved with DPET at $1 and I rode that to $10, took profits. And at $7, I even did a video where I talked to you guys and said, the chart isn't looking great anymore. I'm going to be dumping the rest of my DPET around $7, which I did. And DPET is currently trading, if you look behind me, around $4.70. And that was part of the reason that I did not end up doing a lot of those play to earn NFT game videos like I'd originally talked about and planned on doing, because the more I looked into all the various play to earn games out there, the more I came to the conclusion that in my opinion, they were all awful. There was nothing about them that I felt would continue to last as the years went on. I mean, there are a few games out there for sure in the crypto space that are standout games. Axie Infinity is an obvious one. Everyone knows about that. Great game. Gods Unchained is another one. Very well designed game. I believe the people that worked on it are the same people that worked on Magic the Gathering. It's a very well designed game. You can buy, earn, sell, trade cards within the game. Zedrun is another one. Zedrun, I think Zedrun is lacking in some spaces, but Zedrun has a lot of potential. Zedrun and Axie, the issue with them is the price of entry is so high. It's not as easily accessible to everyone. But my point is there's definitely games in the crypto space that have potential. However, the more I looked into the play to earn space and the more I messed around with some of these small play to earn projects, the less I felt comfortable to make videos about them or even talk about them. And again, that's just me personally. I know there's a lot of people making videos about them. I know some of you might enjoy playing them, but as far as gaming goes, I just personally don't see those games growing a user base or really having any impact on the gaming space. There are definitely some of those smaller projects that are decent, and I might talk about them in the future, but the vast majority were absolutely awful. And in my opinion, all they're going to do is what those coins do best, which is pump and then dump. And again, that is just my opinion. I don't think there's anything wrong with riding the wave when they do pump, but as far as making videos about the games, going in depth, I just personally don't really want to be doing that. However, I am still very bullish on the fact that NFTs will become a part of everyday gaming. But where my interest lies with that is, when will a company like Ubisoft, which owns games like Assassin's Creed, Rainbow Six, Far Cry, when will these games start to include NFTs in your in-game purchases? Because in my opinion, that is where NFT gaming is headed, and that is going to be the natural progression of gaming, and that is where my focus is. I really don't care about these stupid pixelated games that I don't see lasting. Some of them will. There's definitely games like Axie Infinity, which you can't really call a pixelated game. I mean, Axie Infinity is a very well-designed game, just like Gods Unchained, and there are definitely a few others out there. But what I'm looking for is when Ubisoft, Blizzard, Activision, Riot, when some of these big companies with mainstream games start to make your in-game purchases NFTs. Anyways, that's my TED Talks. Thanks for listening. Let's focus on Tezos as far as price action goes, because if we turn off these notes, you can see here that lagging span conversion line baseline. Tezos is possibly getting ready for a breakout. And if we jump over to that 4-hour chart, you can see here Tezos, a nice uptrend ever since around July 20th and picking up a bit of steam now. And if that stochastic RSI nice and low with room to pump. And on that 1 day, that lagging span has not quite come through, but conversion line, baseline uptrend, Tezos has the potential for a breakout. So let's turn on our notes and talk about price targets for Tezos. So as far as price targets go for Tezos, since it's moved down to the bottom of this channel, I'm going to add another resistance level here around 420. But as far as price targets go, my breakout targets for Tezos are anywhere from 490 to around 523. As long as the market keeps pumping, Tezos should run back into resistance around 450 where it was rejected. Current resistance around 423, support around 388, and the current crucial support level for Tezos is going to be right around 350. Looking at SXP's daily chart, let's turn our notes on from last time we talked about SXP. SXP, in my opinion, very bullish. There's a lot of potential here. And the reason that I feel that way is this article from quite a while ago, July 2nd, 2020. Binance confirms partnership with Swipe for debit card launch. And then we also have this article here from July 7th, 2020. Binance completes acquisition of crypto debit card provider Swipe, lists its SXP token. So if you guys aren't familiar with SXP, the Binance card, definitely worth looking into, but this video is going to get pretty long if I go into every article, but I just wanted to give you guys a bit of info there. But SXP, in my opinion, is definitely not a project to ignore. As far as price targets go, we talked about SXP recently and it did pump up in price since. 420 was around the area that it tested today. When the market did have that pullback, SXP did pull back around this support level here of around 376, but catching itself a little bit higher. It's currently running to resistance around $4, but if the market continues to pump, I would not be surprised to see SXP back above $4.50 to $5 or even testing its all-time highs. So as far as price targets go for SXP, pretty simple, looking for a breakout towards $4.50 to $5. Current resistance level around $4, support around 376. Below that, keep my eye on 350, crucial support around 338. Looking at Cake's daily charts, our notes on from last time we talked about Cake. Cake, in my opinion, very bullish. It's continued to pump every time we've talked about it. And again, for those of you who are new here, if you have not seen this article, PancakeSwap announces new NFT marketplace and collection. And I've said this on this channel many times, I do feel that PancakeSwap is the best project to come out of the Binance Smart Chain. And as we see BNB pump, we do generally see Cake pump as well. And with the amount of volume that goes through PancakeSwap on the daily, if they launch an NFT marketplace, in my opinion, that could be the most successful NFT marketplace on the Binance Smart Chain. And what we talked about the last few times we looked at Cake's chart, for those of you who are new here, is the lack of selling pressure. I mean, look at this ever since July 20th, that uptrend on the daily, but look at that uptrend on the 4-hour chart. July 20th, not even testing that Kumo cloud, just a perfect uptrend on the 4-hour chart. I would not be surprised to see Cake back above $30. As far as price targets go for Cake, I'm still looking at breakout targets anywhere from around $30 or above. Bit of resistance at 26, current resistance around 24. It's currently trading just a little bit underneath. Below that, I look for support around 22.3. I'd be surprised to see Cake get there, and the crucial support level for the time being is around $21. All right, crypto people, that's all for today. If you enjoy this content, if you find it brings you value, if you could just take a moment, scroll down, drop a like, maybe leave a comment. It helps this channel out a ton. I appreciate you guys. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. I'm out.